Guys, what's going on today? Can someone just come forward? If you think I'm a terrorist, if you think Israel has a right to defend itself, if you think the Quran is false, just come forward, present your evidence. If you're truthful, simple as that. Why are you guys wandering off? Why are you guys getting crack rashes? Just come defend your position. You believe the Quran was made up. Tell me your claim. Why are you getting excited before I've even started?
I haven't even opened my mouth already.
Well, I'm asking you your claim before you run away, like your predecessors. Well, I'm asking you what you're gonna say so we can forward the conversation.
Let me finish. We can start.
No. Let me finish. I'm gonna go on for 5-10 minutes. State your claim, give your evidence, or walk off and talk to somebody else. Whatever claim you wanna make your claim. We speak, and then you can move. If you want to go 1 mile an hour, if you want to speak and you go back and forth, we can go back and forth, no problem.
You spoke about Israel having the right to defend itself.
Well, I was asking him, do you believe that Israel has a right to defend itself? Or Israel, I didn't say right. I said, is Israel defending itself? Do you believe Israel is defending itself?
It's not a matter of belief, you know.
Oh, go on then.
I have no dog on the matter.
You don't have dog in the matter? Okay, go on.
But it has been on the news that Israel has been defending itself. Because apparently there is some kind of threat. Yeah.
Make your point.
Make your point. And then you're asking, do they have the right to do what they are doing? Right?
So you're saying Israel?
They're asking if they have the right to do what they're doing. If they have the right. But then the question is, what right are you talking about? Because there are many rights. You could have a religious right to be doing something because God is telling you. You have a, maybe a legal right to be something, to do something because the international community is telling you. So, in order for me to be able to respond to you, I need to know what do you actually mean by having the right to defend itself.
You've totally missed my point from the get-go.
Please enlighten.
So he came. And
I just came, but you were talking about Israel. So I don't want to.
No, you were here. No, you were here when he made that point because you reiterated that point. That's the first point. Number two, if he's making the claim, I was asking him, does Israel have a right to defend itself? Is that what he's going to say, that Israel is just defending itself? You've gone in a roundabout sort of way. You've gone, I listened to you, isn't it? Yeah? You made your point indirectly. Now I'm going to respond to those points. Then you can respond those points. You made a few points, then you asked the question. That doesn't mean I'm just going to respond to that question. I'm going to respond to the other points as well. Yeah. So you're talking about a right. Yeah? I understand what right means. A religious right, political right, sociological right, psychological right. But when you're talking about Israel defending itself, from what? Exactly. Because if Gaza has a 2 million population, 500,000 are kids, and UN is saying that 60% plus casualties have been women and children, my question to you is, the lady is back. The lady is back. Yeah. So my question is, who are they defending themselves against when most of the casualties have been women and children?
From what I gather, they are saying that they're defending themselves against Hamas, which allegedly is a terrorist organization. I don't know myself, I've never been there. I can only judge from what I see on the news.
Well, my friend,
but this is what they say it's happening. Right. That they are a terrorist organization, that they have guns, they are kidnapping people, they are shooting rockets, and they are defending themselves against the aggression of a terrorist organization.
Let me tell you something. My name is Zishan, by the way. What's your name? Livingston. Let me give you a word of advice. You can take it or you can leave it.
Yeah.
Don't believe everything you hear in the news.
Yeah, 100%.
And let me give you.
I can't come in and say, look, this is what it is.
Fantastic. What I'll tell you, I will reference from objective sources. Yeah. So that's why I gave you the example, or I gave you the statistic that 60% plus casualties, and I gave you the reference as UN. These are not Hamas numbers. So even though Israel is making that claim, the claim of Israel is not backed up other than by Israel itself.
So you're saying that this is a matter of international law.
Let me tell you one other point.
Not just religious stuff. So it's a matter of international law, a matter of a legal system.
There's a bit of both in there. Yeah, there's a bit of both in there.
It's better, at least we can pinpoint.
We can, because you're honest when you're saying you don't know and you're willing to listen, my friend. I can dial it down for you, no problem. If somebody comes like you saw him, he's coming over here, shouting a little bit, going over there. With that person, there's a different approach that's needed for that person. For you, I can give you another approach. So look, if they're saying that we're only attacking Hamas, ITV. I'm giving you British sources.
Yeah.
ITV is there with the camera. A guy's going forward with a white flag and he gets shot down. That's not Hamas. 60% kids, women, they're not Hamas. Hospitals, they're not Hamas. 7 UN workers, they're not Hamas. And Hamas did what they did. 800 casualties. They have killed, murdered, butchered 30,000. So Livingston, as an objective observer, do you not see the disparity here?
I do see the disparity.
And let me give you one other statistic, yeah? And then I'll let you make your point. More bombs have dropped on Gaza than 2 atom bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima. And of course, white phosphorus, which is illegal, dropped on Gazans, which melts their skin. And then even if you do survive, you live with cancer, with a disfigured, disformed body. Go ahead.
Similar like what the Americans did in Vietnam, right?
With Agent Orange.
Let me tell you why my position is in killing. I am 100% against killing in any shape or form. For me, death is something that is not acceptable. For me, when human beings engage on murdering in whatever scenario, even war, for me that's wrong. It should never happen. Final. So, is Israel doing something wrong? In my opinion, of course they are, because they're killing people. Is Hamas doing something wrong? Yes, they are, because they are killing people. So they're both wrong in that scenario, as far as I see.
Do you believe they're both in the same category?
One has bigger guns than the other. That's just
One has a bigger army,
bigger
one has a
army,
bigger backing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you've got UK giving them backing, America giving them backing in the billions.
Yeah, billions. Even
Hamas,
send money over.
no one's helping them in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia has taken a backseat. Qatar, backseat. Everyone's taken a backseat. Those guys, let me give you an example now, yeah? People talk about war and peace. In 2018, Norman Finkelstein got involved and he said, look, let's get peaceful here, yeah? Do a peaceful protest. And then they were unarmed, they were doing a peaceful protest. And the UN, you can get the UN report in 2019, a year later, they compiled this. They say this, they got their snipers, their best snipers. They lined them up. They lined them up and they were aiming. Deliberate killing. It's from the report of women, of children, of medics.
Okay, but let me ask
Livingston, wait. Livingston, one second.
When you finish,
Just
can I say something about
just let this soak in for a little bit. Because you told me the news. The news, we know. Okay, this is person's funding the news. This is, okay, put the news to the side. Israel saying this, okay, if you can't take Hamas statistics, you can't take Israeli statistics. Here you have the UN, an internationally accepted body, saying, and the reports come out. Israel could have refuted it. They didn't. They said they were aiming for kids. They were aiming for women. And those people, if they weren't aiming for them, you know what they were doing? They were aiming for the kneecaps of the people. This was in Haaretz. One Israeli soldier was bragging. In one day, I got 42 kneecaps. You know, if you get the kneecaps, Livingston, you're disabled for life. They were aiming.
I understand. You've made the. I get the point.
I certainly hope so.
I get the point. I get the
This gentleman made a point about Norman Finkelstein, and this guy even has said, it's very he's a Jew. He's a Jew, right?
He's got parents from the Holocaust survivors. He's a Jew, yeah.
And he has said the same thing what Hamas or what the Israelis are doing.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing what the Nazis were doing to the thing, but they're just reversing it. And we have to understand is at the end of the day.
This is a Jewish person who has parents from the Holocaust.
Exactly. And he's very, very famous. And there's Jews also that will stand independently against the Israeli, the Zionist organized group, Zog. They're independently, and they say this is not right.
Jews for Palestine, I think.
There is.
They are.
What we need to understand is that this has not just been going on today. This has been going on since the development of Israel from 1948. We
Since
have to
the
understand.
Nakba.
Hang on, and I don't know how young this gentleman is, but I've been on this planet for 4 decades, so I know if that is the case, right? When Israel was created, it was created by refugees that were coming from Europe that had fled the war. And when you go back and see 2, 3, 4 generations, they have no thing to Israel. They have no attachment to Israel. They're all from Eastern Europe. And even then, they don't even like their own Arabs that have come from.
So Livingston, without moving from the point,
1 minute, sir, 1 minute.
what do you think after you've heard objective stats, figures and sources?
That I don't have a dog in this race. I don't personally.
But from what you've heard, you can share your opinion, correct?
I said I am against killing. For me, it's an atrocity.
Children, women.
Like I said, I have no dog in this matter. When I look around the world, I see other genocides
Livingston,
happening. For example, in South Sudan, there's a lot of killing going on in there. There's a lot of genocide going on in there.
And is that wrong?
It is absolutely wrong.
Would you have a dog in that race when you've got one people committed?
Anyone coming into the park talking about what's happening in South Sudan? So
Well,
my
we've
question
spoken
then
about
is,
Sudan.
What makes it to you so appealing to talk about Palestine and their struggle and not anybody else's? Why is that the killing of Palestinians is somehow more relevant to you than the murder and genocide of Africans in South Sudan, for example?
Okay, Livingston, I told you when you were making this point, I've spoken about Sudan, yet you continued making this point. You ignored the fact I'm a YouTuber. We've made a video about Sudan. But you don't know. Then why are you making that point then?
I'm not judging things.
You have judged me.
No.
You said you haven't said.
Asking you.
Well, maybe you should have said, why is it?
I really don't watch television. So
Okay, no problem.
Unless I sit here and talk.
I will tell you.
No. So
I've
that's why I'm
spoken
asking.
about what's going on in Burma.
Yeah.
I've spoken about what's going on in Somalia,
Yeah.
in Sudan, in Palestine. I've spoken about what the Americans have done in Afghanistan, in Syria, in Libya. I have a politics website in which we talk about this news and a YouTube channel in which we expose and we express and we articulate these to the masses. So now when I come back to this point, why Palestine? Because if you look on the globe, you have objective sources. For example, the Economist, they are saying and describing Gaza as a rubbish heap. UN said 10 years ago, it would become an unlivable place. You have a former, I think, senior in the Israeli kind of setup. She's saying our job is to make Gaza unlivable. These are her words. Our job is to make Gaza unlivable.
Unlivable to who?
Unlivable for the Gazans.
For the Gazans, for the people who are there.
Let me tell you, because you know what, Livingston, this, when people don't know this, then they think that we're not supposed to have a dog in the race. I'm telling you, forget having a dog in the race. We should have 101 Dalmatians in the race. Every single dog we find, we put in the race. I'm going to tell you why.
Because to me, to be honest,
Frankly, Livingston.
I couldn't. I don't care.
Okay.
And maybe that's an appalling thing.
Let me tell you why, Livingston. Let me tell you why this is worrying.
Yeah.
When I tell you that the UN has made a report in which Israel, an occupying force, they have occupied, built settlements, getting billions of dollars from the UK and US, it does affect you because it's affecting your economy. It's affecting the people that are coming into power in this country, because you've got Suella Braverman getting the Zionist money. You've got Tommy Robinson, who when he had the EDL, English Defense League, it was originally the patent was for the English and Israeli Defense League. Then they had to change it quickly. Because when you are following these people thinking that they are objective observers and you realize, oh, we have a foreign government interfering in our politics. They're interfering in my day-to-day, earnings, because our government is giving millions, if not billions to them. I say you should care. And when you've got these people saying we are aiming for kids, we are aiming for women, I ask you, Livingston, if you are a human being and you have an ounce of integrity in your body, why is it that you would not speak out, shout out against injustice? And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you, Livingston, the reason why I do, let me just make the point, because you asked me this, is because my morality comes from Islam. Yeah? And I have we believe in objective morality, comes from God. Even if my family, we're told in the Quran, speak the truth, even if it means going against yourself, even if it means going against your family. Whilst you'll have atheists saying all that matters is my family, my group, my clique. As a Muslim, we're taught, even if your family is doing injustice, you speak against them. So these are for us al-Muslimu ka jasad al-wahids. Yeah, that believers are like one body. Wherever we are, whether it's in Somalia, whether they're in France, whether they're in the Antarctic, whether one of them's made it onto Mars. If they are suffering, what I'm saying is Muslims, but we have a human obligation as well. If within the Muslims you have a disbeliever living there, we have certain rules and guidelines. If I oppress you, did you know that if you were to curse me, even though you don't believe in God, hypothetically, I'm sure you do, but even if you don't, and you say, may God curse you, God would even hear your prayer against me, a believer as well. In Islam, there's no favoritism when it comes to injustice. Doesn't matter who you are. Go ahead, Livingston.
If I was a general in a war, and I knew that on the front line, I was suffering immense losses. I was being defeated and beaten, and my army was, being wasted. That women and children were being. I would pick up my troops and leave. That's my own personal opinion. It doesn't mean that I'm right or wrong. I'm just saying.
What if they don't let you leave? What if they put you in a prison? Gaza is an open air prison. David Cameron, his words, not my words, not Muhammad's words, not Ahmed or Bilal's words. David Cameron of this country, who doesn't have a dog in the race, or maybe he does.
I'll tell you what, I might be wrong, but I think that's a bit too far-fetched. Because even under international...
Which bit?
The ones that they cannot leave. Because even under international...
It's a fact. They can't leave.
Under international... like I said, what I know for a fact is that the international law, the Refugee Convention or the United Nations Convention on Human Rights says that you can leave your country and go to another country.
My dear Livingston,
So,
I wish that applied to the Gazans.
Yeah, well, if these people can't leave, it's not because there is no legal reason for them to do so. If they're being held hostage in that land, that's a different story. But when it comes to international law, anyone can leave.
Livingston.
And anyone can go.
Can the victimizer leave?
Look.
Should the victimizer leave?
Brother, let me tell him some of these points. Livingston. Livingston. Yeah. Livingston. Let me just give you some of these. Maybe you're unaware of these, yeah?
Like I said, I don't watch television much.
I'm going to tell you.
Myself on what I know.
Livingston, that's why I'm telling you.
It's a fact. So if they can't leave, maybe there's other reasons for that to be happening. Maybe they're being held hostage.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
President Herzog of Israel, these are his words. All Palestinians in Gaza are responsible. Not Hamas. All Palestinians, including women and kids. Netanyahu said, turn Gaza into rubble. Gaza, all of it, into rubble. And then he mentioned Amalek. Yeah, and Bet Salim, the human rights organization in Israel, say anyone who's gone through the system, no. When somebody says Amalek, you know what that means.
Yeah.
It means men, women, children, everyone.
Yeah, because
They know what it means.
About the Amalekites, right?
Let me just make this point, yeah? Daniel Hagari, Israeli army spokesperson, said the goal is destruction, not accuracy. Look how many cameras there are. I'm not making any of this stuff up. You can check it afterwards, no problem. And if I'm lying, smash me in the comments. Israeli Defense Minister Gallant says, cut off everything. Everything. Electricity, water, everything. And then call them human animals. National Security Advisor Itamar Ben Gvir said, the solution is from the Torah. Oh.
Is it? And where is the solution?
Liberate. This is his words. It's from the Torah. Liberate, settle, and expel.
Is that to do with...
And then the last point. Let me just make the last point, which is the one that I mentioned. Says our job is to make Gaza impossible to live in. Impossible. And this was said by the former head of Israeli National Security Council, Giora Island. And that's why you had Raz Siegel an Israeli associate of the Holocaust and genocide studies, when speaking to Owen Jones, saying this is a textbook genocide. Do you still say that, you know what, after hearing this, based upon what I've said, do you still say you don't care?
I don't.
Well, shame on
I
you.
don't have, like I said.
You are a shameless person there.
It seems to me, let's say your opinion. It seems to me that the reason why you feel so strong about this is because they are Muslims. And if they weren't, it seems to me that you wouldn't feel as strong.
How do you know? You've never met me before.
Because I've mentioned to you before.
And I mentioned to you how we are towards non-Muslims.
But you are not as voiceful.
That's because there's a genocide going on right now.
There's genocide going on right now, and like I told you.
And you're saying they're the same. Are you saying they're the same?
I said to you in the beginning that I'm against killing in any form.
Well, you're not, because you said you don't care.
Just because I don't agree with the killing doesn't mean that I should care.
You know what? Maybe somebody else can speak to you. I'm done with this guy. Honestly, somebody who says that to me,
You mentioned,
bro,
let's see.
this guy, honestly, wallahi, I don't believe this guy is sincere. Wallahi,
My friend,
I do not believe this guy is sincere. He has come with an agenda in mind. You can speak to him yourself. If you tell somebody like this is what the Prime Minister,
No, but you see,
this is what the President, National Security Advisor, Defense Minister, all these guys have said, and then he says Sudan. I tell him about Sudan, yet the guy still is saying, no, it's the same. I don't really care. Why do you care about that? So he's telling me he doesn't care, but he wants me to care over. I'm done, bro. I'm done.
But you mentioned the Torah.
Done with you, bro.
As far as I'm concerned,
Allahu Akbar.
where Moses was told to go there and kill him.
Allahu Akbar. May Allah give us akal, wisdom, common sense, regardless of where the people are suffering. Muslim, non-Muslim, animals, even animals.
You are a hypocrite.
Muslims say if animals are suffering, then as a Muslim you have a duty to protect the animal. A bird,
You wouldn't care.
ants,
You're only
spiders. Allahu Akbar. This is the beauty of Islam. Without Islam, this is.
That's what it is.
Bro, he was continuously missing the point. Wasn't interested. I will leave him to you guys. Allahu Akbar.